Tech Girl, can I tell you a story?
Tell me a story.
Tech Girl.
Mm-hmm.
So, once upon a time, today, like hours ago, I went to a bookshop with a friend of mine, and we were it's a very like small town bookshop. We were vibing, having a good time, and we were getting to know one of the employees there because they are a little neurospicy like us.
Love it.
So yeah, it was great. So we were just talking, working on the things we were working on because we were doing like work vibes and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy just goes, as we're talking, just stops mid-conversation and goes, "That is fully the Grinch."
Uh-huh.
And I went, sorry. So I turn around and the Grinch is walking by the bookstore.
Oh.
And we were like, no, this is not normal in my said town, right?
Do you not live in Whoville?
I don't.
Oh,
no.
Okay. I thought you did. Up until that point, I was like, that's pretty normal then.
Yeah, I don't know any Who's.
No.
So.
I only know of one, Doctor Who. Anyways, you have a story. I'm going to shut up.
No. So said book owner, the book owner as well as the bookstore got a text from a nearby store that was like, if that Grinch comes in here, I'm gonna throw things.
Oh.
And so, or like, just didn't want to see the Grinch.
Yeah.
So I was curious. I went and the bookstore. Well, I will say the bookstore owner guy wanted to make this person uncomfortable, so he was gonna send the Grinch there. So I was like, oh, chill. So I went to go like explore because I tend to like character performance, as you all know. So I went to go find this, and the Grinch says something really loudly, like "me" or something, like very loudly, and I immediately recognized this man.
Oh.
This man, the Grinch, was who I had worked for. Oh, of course. Yes, this makes sense. Of course. The only person, the only person in this town that is the Grinch is someone I know. Anyway, why didn't I don't know. But anyway. So they eventually, the Grinch did go in and make the person uncomfortable. And unfortunately, that was not my choice. I looked at the Grinch and I said, this is something that I know, and I want you to use that information how you will. And the Grinch went, it is opposite day. And so then just goes over. Yeah.
Oh, opposite day. The eternal curse.
That happened like 4 hours ago. Maybe less. That happened very recently. So, what do I do with that information?
You ignore it and make a podcast.
I guess so.
Hello, everybody. I don't know how to segue from that.
We never said. The random story. And I'm Amy, and thank you for listening to my weird story. I just find it comical that the only, the one time that I run into the Grinch on accident, I know them. I know.
Well, many times I could run into the Grinch on accident, or on purpose.
The Grinch was telling people that like I was his minion, and that he'd known me for a long time, and I was like, I mean, you're not wrong.
Are you trying to steal Christmas?
Yeah.
Don't. I don't approve of this.
I stole Christmas?
I'm saying, you just said you're his minion. Are you trying to steal Christmas?
No, I've been friends with Elsa and Anna and other characters.
And they would disapprove your theft of Christmas.
That wasn't...
This is secretly the Christmas intervention episode.
I guess so.
Where we talk about how Amy cannot stop wanting to steal Christmas.
Have you... Sanders Side's Tech Girl. What are we talking about today?
The Grinch now. No, we're talking about Sanderside's pairing, Sanderside's connections, Sanderside's relationships, but not in the way that I think a good chunk of the fandom would want that word to be interpreted in this moment. No. That's a different episode. No.
You ain't getting the sides just yet.
No, not quite.
This is fully just like the status of the connections between the friends, or they're not necessarily friends, all of them, but like, what is the relationship? What is the connection? How do they connect, and do they connect at all?
Yeah, where did they start, and what is the status of how they're all doing with each other right now? Each individual pairing. We do in fact have if I can get it up on my phone, even though this doesn't matter at all to the people who are not viewing this episode on YouTube. Oh my god, please phone, thank you. A wheel. And, a wheel. We have a wheel of all the different Sandersides pairings. We are going to continuously spin the wheel and land on a pairing and talk about what we think of, how they have been and how that pairing is as of right now. Because, again, they all started some places and they've all gotten some places. Not all of them great. Some of them have changed a lot, some of them have not at all.
Yeah.
But we're going to see how they're doing. And also, just as a fun little addition to each pairing's analysis, we're going to talk about how each pairing would fare if they were forced to have a dinner together. Because, that's maybe a thing that could happen. Who knows? So you got to eat. Mm-hmm. Do they got to eat? Logan definitely eats a lot of crofters.
I don't think they have to.
They probably don't.
When I play the characters, I never play like they have to.
Yeah, they can choose to, though. We know that there's been crofters and spaghetti and cookies.
Yeah, they're like gems. They don't have to eat, but they can if they want.
I had the same thought a second ago of them being gems, and I was like, oh my god, it's like amethyst.
Listen, Thomas Sanders were here, if Thomas Sanders were hearing this is what I was trying to say, and then I went, here. Thomas Sanders. Thomas Sanders were here hearing this, he would agree.
If he were here hearing this, he would say, here. We got there.
What's the first?
Oh my gosh, well, let me spin the wheel of connections. What?
Everyone, don't mind me. All of my devices started dying as soon as we hit record. So let me start working on that.
Maybe we should connect this wheel to your power sources as a form of power.
I guess so.
Should I spin the wheel?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh my god, the first wheel spin while Amy's away. Boom.
Away? Has Amy ever been away while this is... Oh, wait.
I don't know. We landed on the first pairing, and it's a good one for me. And I bet just by that description, Amy knows exactly what it is.
It's Patton and something.
That is true. It's Patton and Janice.
Oh! That's a good one to start
It's my favorite. These
a great one.
These are my boys. These are my boys. Oh my gosh. Are you good over there? Are you good to start talking, or you need a second?
I'm fine. Hold on.
Should I vamp?
Well, yeah, a little bit, because I can definitely just mention that my brain is kind of like, how do I describe my brain?
I've been asking myself that for the past 20 years.
It's basically like, yeah, I can't think while I do two things at once, is what I'm trying to say. So don't mind me while I try to.
We got this. We got. Let's us as the people watching and me. Let's take a moment to talk about the eventual intervention that is Amy stealing Christmas. Because actually no, this is actually a good point to actually real quick mention something I forgot to mention. Huh?
That I stole Christmas?
No. Completely random. I forgot to transition from that topic. No, something we forgot to mention before, so this is a good time to mention now. This episode is actually going to be a two-parter, because there are a lot of Sandersides pairings. Of the 6 sides, the amount of pairings between them is actually 15, which seems less than it should be, but logistically it does make sense. But yeah, so this is part 1. We're going to get through 7 to 8 of the pairings, and then next week we will be doing part 2. So, yes. Oh my god, Amy's camera is freaking out. And now it's good. Are we good? Now that I've given some exposition about the podcast?
I mean, I can't respond to what you just said, but...
What?
I don't know what you just said.
Oh, I was just asking if you were good.
I'm great.
Oh, cool.
Thanks for asking. This is Bernard.
Oh, hi.
And those of you listening, I have a friend named Bernard. You can go check him out on youtube.com/c/Side-ology pod.
Oh, My brain was like, that's our link. What are you talking about? I was like, oh, because they can see it in the video.
Yeah.
I'm about 30% here.
I mean, I'm being really fast today, so don't mind me.
Shall we talk about Patton and Janice?
Yes.
I love them so dearly.
Them up on my device.
Yeah, on our notes. I love Patton and Janice because they're just the best. You might need to start the conversation here because all I can talk about is how the best they are.
So it's interesting because, I mean, we've kind of talked about relationships in the series so far, or connections in the series so far. But Patton and Janice specifically is interesting because Patton initially viewed Janice as the villain. And
but not even
with
that much.
No, but like, I mean, he was willing to hear him out, but there was definitely like a understanding that Janice lied a lot.
Yeah.
So Patton had a lot of distrust in him until the moment in Putting Others First, like right around when Patton was like, and that means you're not glad, right? Like, he was there kind of like having that distrust, and then Janice said something that Patton agreed with, and that was the moment that shifted. You can watch Patton, I mean, Thomas is really good at like facial expressions and really trying to pay attention to what a side is thinking visually on his face. And Patton, you can see like the moments where Patton starts to believe Janice and starts to trust Janice.
Yeah. I also think it's pretty poignant that like in the very first appearance of Janice, there is the bit after he's gone where Patton starts to bring up the previously mentioned example of I believe it was Immanuel Kant, which was sort of a defense of lying to some. What?
I said K-A-N-T.
K-A-N-T.
I can't hear that without doing it. I don't know what it is anymore, but.
But no, he referenced that example by Immanuel Kant, and which I believe was like sort of a defense for lying, because it was the what was it? It was the murderer in the house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's sort of a defense of, you know, somewhat of a defense of lying. Which, I mean, for the first talks of Janice and for like Patton's initial response there, like, even though he may not fully trust Janice, he can't bring himself to fully disagree, at least, you know, if that, you know, topic of conversation were to have continued, which is nice. I like that there was always sort of like a mild understanding compared to, I think, the rest, to some degree. I think Logan also shares that in that episode, but we can get to that also later.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, they started out a little, like, distrustful, but I wouldn't say even that much, because, I mean, they didn't really even have a lot of interactions, necessarily. So, but then...
I think once... Oh. Well, that's my thing. I think once Patton was fully made aware that... or kind of really saw Janice's perspective for the first time and really understood it and listened to it, he trusted him, and I think he's the only side that will really, like... listen besides Logan.
Yeah, I mean, I think Logan... Yeah, Logan's definitely a bit less so, but not even by much. But no, Patton definitely is the most who will listen to him. He's the one I think who trusts Janice right now the most.
Not even just listening to Janice, but like Patton will fully listen and try to comprehend and understand every side.
Oh, well, yeah, in general. Like, he's very, like, catering to people that way.
Yeah, which I think is why he was the one that warmed up to Janice first.
Oh, yeah. Which is so nice, because Janice deserves good things. Janice, on the other hand, at first, I don't believe fully trusted Patton, because I don't think he fully trusted anybody.
No, Patton was against him right off the bat.
Well, yeah, of course. But,
Patton was like, no. Hey, stop it. Friendship. Janice is like, fuck friendship.
He's like, I don't do friendship like that. I'm a Scooby-Doo villain. That's not even his words. No, but then Putting Others First happened, and then that things went well, and now they're besties, and I love them dearly. I know they're not fully besties, but like, I saw that look, I was like, I know they're not fully besties, but like, they're kind of besties.
I think Janice had like a standoffish energy for everybody for a long time. And then once Patton started to ask him questions and started to inquire about his perspective, that's when he started to trust Patton. So it's almost the same time.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they work really well together. I don't know, a little known, I guess not little known, but a part of Sandersides that people don't always acknowledge. I love the dialogue at the beginning of Into the Unknown. Oh, I love it because,
I forgot it all
just
right
the whole,
now.
Just Janice turning around. How have we had so many of these little chats and you still know nothing about me? And that's just because you'd never tell me anything.
They have little chats.
I love it. It's so good.
They canonically hang out.
It's Patton slowly starting to view self-preservation as a good thing.
Yeah.
It's so important in mental health.
Oh, honestly. It's so necessary. Because you need to take care of yourself.
Good.
That's like the whole thing.
And that's the thing. A lot of people these days are so people-pleasing energy that once Patton started to recognize it's important to love yourself and it's important to do that stuff, he started to love Janice.
Yeah.
He started to be friends with Janice. And I was like,
I love their friendship so much. It just makes me feel really good. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think this relationship is in pretty decent standing. Like, Patton has very much warmed up to Janice. Janice, I think, is warming up to Patton. I don't think he's fully there yet.
I agree. Yeah, I think, I don't think there's, I don't know if there's a way for Janice to fully trust anyone. I'll also say...
Don't break my heart. I think you could. Let me have this.
I love angst, my God. But I will say it's important to note, just to point out, that like in the Have I Grown, the 5-year special, Janice saying, I mistook him for a garbage can, is really poignant. Was he saying that to be silly?
I think he could have been saying that because he was lying. And because actually he just wanted to cover up the fact that he was being nice. That's my theory. That's film theory. I think I've told you that before, have I not? I'm pretty sure I must have.
Yes. And honestly, I had forgotten about it. I think I agree with that. Because, like, Janice just being like, I mistook him for a garbage can.
Yeah, I mean, they canonically hang out, so it's not like Janice doesn't like being around Patton. It's not like he dismisses him that hard. I don't think so, anyways.
Janice and Patton are a good vibe.
They're the best vibe.
Honestly, I like that relationship.
It's good. Need it all. So how would they do it at dinner, then? I think they'd do great.
Oh, they'd be fine.
They'd be fine. I mean, the fact that they canonically just genuinely hang out, they'd be fine. I think, you know, like, I think in general, Janice is going to be a bit closed off in conversation about himself. But I think he'd be willing to talk to Patton about random things.
It's getting better.
Yeah.
I think it's less of, like, Janice's history. Like, Janice isn't willing to share that yet, but he's more willing to share, like, his ideals and the things he's actually, like, pushing for.
They could have some good conversations about, like, moral philosophy.
Mm-hmm. I could listen to that conversation at the beginning of Into the Unknown on loop. It's so good.
It's really nice.
It's so good, and it's so separate from Sandersides, but it's like so juicy. It's so good content. Anyway.
Oh my god, shall I spin the wheel?
Spin the wheel!
Boop! I don't know if people can hear the wheel, but I can. And the next one is Roman and Patton. Doing some Patton-centric vibes today, and this one is decidedly a little bit less perfect right now. Yeah. Yeah. Shall we talk about it? So it started pretty fine. I think at the beginning of the series, it was all good. I think they were on a pretty good streak. Patton gave him spaghetti at one point. They've always been friendly. They had that little back and forth nicknamey thing in that one episode. What episode was that? Was that the Christmas episode? The nickname, the Thomas the Tank Engine, where they were going back and forth calling Thomas together, wanting to make a video. Like, they were such a good vibe, and they were like really cool.
They're both the right brains, so like they flowed pretty well together.
Yeah.
I want to point out that since Patton is basically the good in Thomas, at least he's viewed that way at first.
Yeah.
And then Roman is the good creativity. I think Roman really looked to Patton for guidance a lot and continues to do that. And then in putting others first, that's when Roman's like, I don't know if I believe that anymore because now you're siding with Janice.
I mean, honestly, if you think about it, to a certain point, like, Patton to Roman was such, like, a light of, like, non-judgment. Because, like, he had it out with Logan for the longest time. You know, he had it out with Virgil for the longest time. And then there's the dark sides. Like, Patton was the only one who I think he felt like he could just sort of exist around without being judged for something or another.
Wow. Aww,
I know, which is sadder because And now things got a little funky because now Roman is questioning Patton's allegiance due to the fact that Patton, as we discussed, has quite sided with Janice, especially in putting others first. And I think Roman saw that as a bit of a betrayal.
Oh yeah.
A bit indeed. That's sad.
that's really it. Like, I think there's a really intense, that guidance piece is so important for Roman because, like, he doesn't, I would almost say that Roman is more, I don't know if this is the right way to phrase it, but, like, if Thomas were, like, this might, stay with me here, okay? Stay with me.
Also,
I know what
sorry to anyone who heard my desktop sound. That was a random notification that shouldn't have made a noise. We love that. I want to fix that while you keep talking.
Now, everybody, stay with me here. Consider Thomas was a machine. Okay, stay with me.
I'm not surprised you took it here.
Stay with me. Roman is like the execution, not necessarily. I mean, yeah, he's the one that creates ideas and stuff, but with Thomas's, like, goodwill and his just being as a person, Roman is more of doing the thing rather than coming up with the why, coming up with the how. He's like the one that does it.
Okay.
So in that sense, Patton is almost the brain in that sense, and Roman is the one who goes. He's kind of, Patton's the engine, Roman's the machine around it.
So wait, hold on. I might be getting lost in your analogy here. So are you trying to say that Logan is not, or not, what, Logan is not even part of this? I don't know why I said Logan.
I was like,
Freudian slip. Roman, yeah, that's who we're talking about. Roman. Sorry, I was really messing with my computer. I got real distracted. Roman, you're saying Roman does not come up with ideas? Am I hearing that correctly?
No, I think it's just Thomas being a good person.
Oh, being a good person. Okay.
Roman kind of is the one who adds, who executes.
Okay. I thought you were talking about, like, the creative piece of that, and that's where I got confused. I was like, Roman, I think, comes up with the ideas. Okay, but you're talking about, like, being a good person. No, that makes sense to me.
I knew that was a step, but, like, it really is a mindset of Roman kind of, in like a take like a stage show. Patton's the one who comes up with the script. Patton's the one who comes up with the like layout design of everything, while Roman is the one who builds the set and then makes sure it goes on the stage.
Oh yeah, I mean Roman's the motivation, the passion.
That's what I'm thinking. So that in mind, I know I've said this already, but like I think that's a really important point to emphasize for Roman's character, because that's why Roman feels so lost right now, is because the brain and the thing that he was using as his guiding light is now corrupted. In his mind, because he refuses to look at Janice's perspective in a healthy way. He's only seeing Janice as the bad guy.
Man, it's actually really sad because, like, again, like, with Patton having been that, like, shining light compared to the others, to a certain extent, like, just as, like, Roman felt like, what was it? Roman was worried about, like, not being Thomas's hero. I think, like, Patton was Roman's hero to some extent. I think that could be somewhat true, and he lost that. It really was him seeing someone that he cared about suddenly flipping switches to, like, what seems to him to be the dark side.
Yeah.
I mean, quite literally the dark side. But, yeah, so...
Well, they were pretty buddy.
Sorry, I laughed because I was looking back to our notes to see if there was anything I missed on Patton and Roman, and the last line we wrote is, "There is now stank." We're professionals.
I love how I knew before you even finished. I knew.
That's wonderful. So how would they fare at a dinner, given where they currently are? Because I don't think they're not. I mean, obviously Patton's not hostile towards him. I don't think Roman's too hostile towards Patton either. Not confrontationally, at least. I know the look you're giving. I know we've definitely talked about this before. How Roman did give that look at the end of working through Intrusive Thoughts. But there's a big difference between a look and something like what Virgil did, which was like instigate.
But
that's my point. There's stank, of course, as we mentioned. There's stank, but I don't think it's super confrontational. It's more of just a shifting of perspectives on who Patton is now.
And I am... I know that not talking about something like that builds resentment over time.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that Roman is holding it back, but is definitely like not trying to play like everything's fine with Patton when it's very much not.
I think it'd be a very silent dinner. Because
he would be trying so hard.
He would try hard at first, but I think he would give up once he realized it wasn't being reciprocated. And like once he noticed that Roman didn't really want to talk much about things either. I think it would be pretty silent if they were forced to spend a dinner together.
Even if it was, but if they're being silly and trying to camaraderie, like hang out, I think it'd be fine, but it would have Roman would add some stank. You know, like he would add pieces of it that would be like,
See, I have trouble believing that they'd be able to be silly together alone. Because of course there was the Inside Out asides, where they were all like together in a group, and that was like amongst others. But I think alone together, I don't know if Roman would be comfortable enough, fully.
Roman really likes maintaining his image no matter who he's around.
That's a good point. We did talk about how he copes with comedy. So he would probably try.
He's fine. I think that was honestly, like, if we're taking, you know, the canon as law, I think that's why Roman didn't say anything in the end of working through Intrusive Thoughts. I think that's why he didn't say anything and Virgil did.
Yeah.
But because Roman's because you saw him, like, you'd have to go back and watch it, but he looks like side eyes Patton and then just like, you know, puts the face back on and he's fine. But you can still think behind his eyes, he's trying. So I think even if Patton were around, he's trying to play like nothing's wrong.
Yeah, it'd be mostly civil with just a sprinkle of stank.
Oh my God, he's Pearl from Steven Universe.
Pearl is not nearly as subtle as you think she is.
I know, but she's trying.
She's not. Not you.
She's not?
I'm thinking of like Pearl and Greg. I'm thinking of early Pearl and Greg. She was not trying.
Oh.
She was instigating hardcore.
Ah, that's fair.
Yeah. I think it'd be like closer to like Amethyst. Amethyst kind of like is, I think, more the Roman thing that we're thinking of like hiding it behind that mask, hiding it behind that wall of like jokes and such, and trying not to have to talk about it.
Heck, I think all of them. I think all
that's
the gems
true.
are
All of them a little bit.
Like,
but Amethyst, I'm gonna go with because Amethyst and Roman both have that same air of like, I think you're okay in the later stuff, but I know I didn't like you to start. They both have that same exact phenomenon because I hated Amethyst. And I never hated Roman, but he's never quite been my favorite, even though I really like him now.
Yeah. Roman's something else.
SVS really flipped the switch for me that I was like, oh, you know, maybe this Roman guy's pretty alright.
I'm really intrigued to see this next. But I know we say that all the time.
We always
I'm really intrigued finale because I think Roman's got a lot of character.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's built up enough at this point. There's quite a bit to talk through.
This man's gonna get kicked in the ass.
My God, I just had a realization that he's been beat up by, like, so much. I'm thinking of, like, the paper in the eye. He got whacked on the head by Remus.
Yep, this is the final straw. Ass kicking.
That's the next question. Which side has been the most mutilated? Him or Roman? Him or Roman? Him or Logan? Logan got multiple hits by Remus.
Yeah, Logan's gotten a Death Star thrown at him.
Yeah, literally. He got his teeth shoved up his nose. Oh my God.
Yeah, poor guy.
All right, next pairing.
Be crazy.
Say again?
I said out of context, this would be a very crazy conversation. This man got his teeth nose. Anyway,
amazing.
Go ahead and
Boop. Who's our next pairing?
I wish Pat and Roman were still buddy-buddy.
No. Oh my gosh. Well, speaking of Logan and Remus, Logan and Remus.
Ooh.
Talk about a rough dinner.
Logan would. I don't think Logan would engage anymore.
No,
I think
he would engage. I thought you were gonna be like he wouldn't come. I'd be like, no, it's obligation. He has to.
But
we're getting ahead of ourselves. So,
anyway,
where did they start, and how is it so different from where they ended up? It's not really. That's the joke. But no, they have never gotten along, and I don't think they ever will. And that's a big statement. That's not true. Maybe it is. I don't know. But yeah, they don't go well together. I mean, they're quite honestly, like, Remus even mentioned it, I think, in, it might have been DeWitt or Working Through Intrusive Thoughts, which is, like, they're kind of opposites, like logic and chaos. So they really just do not mesh well together.
They don't mesh,
Yeah.
There is no rhyme or reason to what he does. He just does, which is not a very logical way of thinking.
Mm-hmm. I hate that when you said that, my brain was I was going to do the rhyme, and I was like, a scoodly buzz. Because, anyways,
So while we were thinking about this beforehand, I was comparing, who was it Remus? Remus is okay. So, the idea that we were trying to figure out kind of where people were coming from and where they were coming from, and Remus is just kind of trying to get a rise out of different sides, and at first he was trying to get a rise out of Virgil, and I mean you can tell because his eyeshadow changes color. So in Working Through Intrusive, yeah.
Why do I never? I remember we've talked about this. Yes,
exactly.
I remember.
In Working Through Intrusive Thoughts, the eyeshadow's blue, like a dark blue, and then in Dealing with Intrusive Thoughts, it's purple. So with that in mind, I mean, at first he usually messes with Virgil, which is partial. I mean, there was a moment there, but like once Logan started to really kind of ignore Remus, Remus kind of, whether inspired by Janice or not, had it out for Logan. So the next time he was against Logan, he was really spurred on to do something. And we were talking, I say all this because we were talking about Remus being of the mindset kind of like Megamind was, if you've seen the movie Megamind.
If you haven't,
kind of like yeah.
Great.
Like Megamind is, if he doesn't have a hero to fight, he feels like he doesn't have a purpose. Yeah. So while we thought about Logan and Remus, it kind of is a similar mindset of he wants to take down Logan because he needs a person to mess with.
Yeah, he needs someone to annoy, to get a reaction. He's like a schoolyard bully. He needs someone to get a reaction out of. Because that's how he gets his kicks.
It's a very interesting perspective on Remus that I don't think we talked about in the last episode.
Yeah.
As much. Because
he's just a little shit.
Well, yeah, that plays into, like, the regrets. Like, does he harbor any resentment? Does he harbor any regret? Does he... What is he doing if he's not annoying someone or bothering someone, you know?
Playing DDR.
Oh.
That's canon.
Well.
Is that canon? I forget if that's canon.
That is canon.
I couldn't remember if that was an incorrect quotes thing or if that was from the... I think it was the anniversary.
Yeah.
It's one of those editions that's like, really? Interesting.
It's one of those editions that I'm not... I think I like looking at the sides very seriously, and because that wasn't very serious... Which is funny because this is a comedy series, but
true, and we're literally talking about how the sides would fare at dinner. But, like, I see what you mean. You're used to looking at it very canon, and also especially because we've thought about them as maladaptive daydreams. Like, especially now, so it's weird to think of them, like, existing elsewhere when, like, Thomas isn't having an issue.
So yes, that's canon. I don't love that that's canon, but I think it's just because I'm a stickler, and I don't. So
that's fair. But
anyway,
yeah, no. So they don't get along, and they don't get along still. So how would they? Well,
we got to think about Logan's reaction to Remus.
Hate.
How did it start?
Strong dislike to hate. I know we have different definitions of hate, as we've discussed previously before this episode. I'm under the influence that Logan, of any other side, words. Hello, come back to me. Hello, words. It's me, Tech Real. Just give me words. Are you there, words? It's me, Tech Real.
Oh God.
Wow. No, I think Logan dislikes Remus more than any other side, like, which I think is decently fair to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, Remus just knows how to push his buttons in every possible way, and to the point where, you know, obviously the orange eyes happened. Like, there's no.
It doesn't make sense.
Huh?
To Logan, he doesn't make sense to Logan. There's no sense, so it's
there's no rhyme or reason.
Way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the fact that, like, Remus isn't willing to look at, to understand his perspective or even, like, take the time to be respectful in any way bothers the fuck out of Logan.
Yeah.
Which creates anger and rage, which led to the big moment.
Big moment.
Big moment.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're, like, Remus, I don't think dislikes Logan, though, in that same way. I think, I mean, to some extent, because, I mean, Logan definitely does work against Remus, and has, and I think he's been frustrated by Logan, but I don't think there's really that, like, hatred there. Again, it's just that sort of little shit energy. It's just, like, we're against each other, but I'm having a lot of fun being against you. Sort of like, I compare it to, like, you know, Sherlock and Moriarty. Which, again, I think is a pretty decent, like, you know, it's a pretty decent comparison, I think, between Logan and Remus. In the sense that there's just, like, the really put together, like, cold one, and, you know, he's also a fan of Sherlock. But also, like, the crazed one who just sort of just throws crap at the wall and just messes with him just incessantly. But, like, you know, and there's that, like, rivalry, but there's also that sort of, like you said, like, I need someone to mess with, and you're just such a good target, and you're really fun to do that with right now. So you're my toy now for that reason. So,
yeah. I have an idea.
Yeah? What, for dinner?
I don't know if we've already kind of been doing this. We have to an extent, but we've been trying to, like, take the relationships and compare them to relationships in media elsewhere. Can we do that with every pairing?
Have we done that up until this point?
I don't think we did it with every single one. I don't think we did it with Pat and Janice.
Pat and Janice are... I can't think of a single thing.
I can't think of a single thing. This may be frugal.
I'd like to try. I'd like to try to figure out, like, similar pairings. What is Pat and Janice? I'm trying to... My brain, for some reason, thought of Lilo and Stitch, but that's not even close to correct. Janice is not nearly rabid enough.
That's Janice and Remus.
I see that. To a certain extent. We're not there yet, though. But, yeah, so at the very least, we know that Logan and Remus are Sherlock and Moriarty. Who was the other pairing we just did? Roman and Patton. I can't think of a creative pairing for them either. We'll continue and see if we'll keep that in the back of our brain as we go, in case something comes up. But
the last thing I'll say about this then is they're both in the way of each other's goals.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that's implied, but also like they're being in the way of each other's goals in such a way that like they feel like they can't progress. Neither of them feel like they can progress forward at all because the other is in the way. Yeah. And it's like, come on. So a dinner wouldn't go well.
I think Logan would be silently trying to eat, and just silently, politely trying to eat and ignore the other side of the table as Remus acts like the worst, most tantrum child you've ever seen.
I mean, if we're saying that Remus's ignorance and annoyances sparked the orange eyes, I bet the orange eyes would come back.
I think Remus would eat orange chicken just to mess with him.
And you see out of the orange eyes.
He has like 2 forks, like with a piece of orange chicken in front of his face. Like, look, who am I? Do I remind you of anyone? I would pay to see that. I would pay to see an hour-long dinner between Logan and Remus, more than anyone we've said so far.
Logan would just be sitting there, like, reciting the numbers of pi in his head, trying to, like...
I want it to be an hour long of cutting back and forth between Logan and Remus, and Remus is doing all this stuff, and every once in a while you just hear inner narration of Logan just doing something else, just reciting an entire, like, Charles Dickens book in his head, just trying to get through his life.
Absolutely.
Pondering the current Agatha Christie he's reading, like, you know, just all this. And then cut to Remus juggling potatoes. You know. But yes.
Sorry, my fidget toy is making noise. I'm bothered with.
No.
What noise?
Dang, that's not the one that's supposed to make noise.
It's not! What's making noise?
Oh, no. Oh my god, well, I'm going to get ready to spin the wheel again, because, fun fact for those who don't know, which is everybody, I was trying to adjust the wheel in between rounds, just on my phone, so it would be centered, and it almost spanned the wheel, and if I take my finger off, it would spin the wheel. And therefore, my finger has been firmly pressed to my phone, cramping my hand up, since the beginning of the Logan and Remus conversation. So I'm going to let go of this thing now and let it spin. Oh, freedom. Freedom at last.
This man struggles in silence, and I have to be like, bruh.
My god, Logan and Virgil.
Aww.
I'm gonna put my phone to sleep. Oh my goodness.
I love Logan and Virgil. It's not my favorite pair.
That's fair. Do I know your favorite pair? I think I do. Oh. Well, wait, no, I know your favorite pair, but not because of good vibes. Not because of good vibes. No, I know your favorite pair, but it's not good vibe pair.
It gives me good vibes.
Oh yeah, you and your angstiness.
It gives me good.
See, my favorite pairing gives me good vibes. I think Logan and Remus is my favorite bad vibe pairing. I'm learning.
I don't care good or bad either way. I just love this pair.
Dang, well this is fair. This isn't this. What?
My favorite pair is Janice and Virgil, for those who are wondering.
Oh my
I love when those two interact.
Oh my god.
I could watch them interact forever.
Well, we'll see if we get to them in this episode.
We'll get there.
So, Logan and Virgil, though.
I love Logan and Virgil.
Complicated. But not overly so, I'd say, compared to some other pairings. There's definitely some issues. I mean, obviously at the beginning, as with a lot of people, you know, Logan didn't gel super hard with Virgil. I think that's fair to say. I think it's fair to say most people didn't gel with Virgil right away, other than, I think, like, Patton, right at the start.
In the same way, I don't think people gel with Logan, because Logan is pretty stoic
in
a lot of his views and is kind of hard to get along with.
And he's very judgy. So there's like there's a lot stacked up against them both connecting with anyone right away.
I think but in a backwards way, because you said that about both of them, that's where they find the solace in each other.
I like that a lot. That's very true. Because
I love it.
Because the thing is, they're a pair that I say they work until they don't. They definitely work sometimes, but not others. Because the thing is, I think that's a lot of the case when it comes to how logic mixes with anxiety in general. Because logic can really be 50-50 with how it reacts to it with the anxiety. Or rather, anxiety, 50-50 how it reacts to logic. Because something that's, simple, logical, like something that is like a simple logical fact can be very comforting, depending on the context. Something that like helps ground you, that helps like affirm, a fear. It really helps, to ground you where you are and, get back to base. But also, sometimes, something that's a straight logical fact can be terrifying and painful and bad. Like, I think of the debate episode, My Negative Thinking?
Yeah.
Where it was like, objectively, Logan, how did I do? Thomas asks, and couldn't give him a great answer. And that's an unfortunate, it's one of those unfortunate things. It's like, well, objectively, you didn't do great. So,
he said, yeah.
It really works either way of like how well logic can work with anxiety. And similarly, I think that shows a lot in how Logan and Virgil interact.
You were mentioning, I think, I'm pretty sure you didn't say this just now because my brain kind of checked out just a tad.
That's fair. It's late.
The learning new things about ourselves moment.
Okay, I haven't even mentioned that episode yet, so you're good.
Okay, solid.
I don't think I have. Have I? I don't know.
No, but you were bringing up before the fact that, like, there's a moment in learning new things about ourselves, or, no, it's embarrassing phases. Mm-hmm. I'm wrong. It's embarrassing. It's the one where Logan is just like, do you know how easy it is to be distressing? Let me just tell you. And then does Virgil's job for him, where everybody just goes,
Oh, yeah. It's a very good showing of, like, logic really messing, like, it can really cause anxiety if used, you know, in that way.
Logic can really flare Virgil, but, like, logic is okay with anxiety just existing and being there.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. There's a give and take, but it really is kind of how Virgil's feeling and how strong he's feeling about a situation or how comfortable he's feeling about a situation.
Yeah, and also how Logan acts. Because Logan, I think, is still struggling at times to be, like, delicate with anybody. But I think he clashes with Virgil quite a bit. There's a lot of, like, rough interactions between the two where, again, like, he'll, like, rile up Virgil either accidentally or not. Like, he's very... They don't mesh super well all the time. But again, they're pretty... I think when Logan's not being that, and when Virgil isn't going through a crisis, I think that pairing is pretty chill. I think it's a pretty relaxed pairing. I think they can be pretty relaxed around each other, more or less. Like, there's not much there unless there's something going on. I think when there's something going on especially, that's when things kind of, like, start to fracture between them. But it's really, like, it works until it doesn't. Like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It really depends on the state of things around them.
They really do have that, like, mutual respect for each other.
I'd say
But also, like, they can't always agree with each other.
Oh, yeah, no.
And I really don't think... I mean, Logan always thinks he's higher than everyone else. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, there are moments where Virgil, like, evens out, I think. I think Logan has enough respect for Virgil that he views them as equals occasionally. And then something happens and Virgil's just at the bottom again. And Logan's like...
It really does fluctuate. But I think, on the whole, they're pretty all right. There's some slight stability there. Again, the foundation gets a bit shaky in rough situations, but, like, for the most part, they're pretty all right. So, like, how would
I think that's...
Huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to segue into the dinner thing.
Oh, real quick, I was just going to say I think it's interesting how, like, I've said for my own mental health journey that there are times where I feel like Virgil is dressing up as Logan, and I look at a Virgil thought as a Logan thought. I don't know how that plays into this, really. I just think it's interesting that, like, I've always viewed them kind of at odds with each other and not really equaling each other. And with that, like, I don't know how that plays in. I just think that's interesting.
I don't know either. Interesting psychology.
Interesting psychology.
Yeah.
Weird.
Oh my gosh. So how would they fare at dinner?
I think they'd be fine.
I think so too. I think Logan would be open to conversation to some extent. I don't know how much conversation they could have together, just as a whole, because I don't know how much they have in common, if any.
As somebody who's done a lot of, like, almost every pairing possible of the sides in character live streams, Logan and Virgil is usually the hardest because, I mean, it's possible if both people are in a headspace where you can kind of just keep talking, but if one of them is kind of a quiet character who responds more than engages and creates the conversation, it really, like, the conversation's so slow.
Yeah.
It's so...
There's not a lot of crossover in their interests is the issue.
Yeah, because Virgil and Logan really have to have, like, two really on-the-ball, like, on-the-ball improvisers to be able to keep that conversation going. Whereas, on the other hand, Patton and Logan are so easy because Patton just talks and Logan responds to whatever Patton says.
Yeah.
Logan doesn't really have so much to be engaged in that conversation. Whereas with Virgil and Logan, both of them are so quiet that, like, they probably wouldn't. So, in that sense, I don't know if a dinner would be very conversational. It might be.
Unless they're, like... they could... I mean, I was thinking just now, they could connect on something. I think they could both get pretty down with the mystery genre. Or, like, darker mystery. Like, I think that they could both vibe pretty well to Death Note. I think if they watched Death Note together, they would both have a lot to enjoy there.
L is Virgil and Logan combined.
Literally.
So.
Like, these literally them two put together, like, entirely. Like,
Name a better character that combines Virgil and Logan. I'll wait. L is the best.
It's the only one. It's the only one. It's got those, like, anxious, like, sort of, like, gothy vibes mixed with the entire brain.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Fucking love it.
Well, before we spin the wheel again, shall we do a Mind Palace moment?
Oh! Sure.
That is a sound of confirmation if I've ever heard one.
Oh, that's a different sound. Okay, well, that's enough of that. Logan here, yes, with the fun fact of the day. Interesting fact about Venus. Venus is the only planet that spins clockwise. Oh, I didn't mean to tap the Crofter's jar, but it is. It spins clockwise once every 243 days. Oh, that was alarmingly loud. I apologize to the listeners.
Very nice. Venus. Very nice. Very nice. Venus. Very nice. Venus.
I don't remember when the last time I quit the podcast was, but that's right now. So, I can't. Listen, that was just too high caliber. I can't top it. I can't, that's why I'm leaving. It's clearly that.
Yeah.
Oh my. Well, now that... Oh, and that was a moment. I forgot we say that sometimes.
Hey!
I choose to question nothing and just refer back to the wheel. So, let's continue.
That's great. Fantastic.
This is an episode.
Yep. As it do be.
What is the wheel gonna say? Ooh, Logan and Janice. I do like these boys. I do like them a lot.
Interesting. This is the only one that we haven't seen much screen time between the two of them.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's honestly because every other second Janice is Logan. There really isn't much to work with there when he's constantly either shoved to the back of the court or, you know, like shoved into wherever the hell he was when he was during putting others first. Was there another instance of this disguise of Logan? What am I thinking of? There was another one, wasn't there? Is that both of them?
It's putting others first and, yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
It's just those two.
He disguised as Logan twice in the same arc. Dang, yep. Janice. Get some new costumes.
Damn.
I'm sorry, I love you, Janice.
Just chatting again, so he's only got...
Sorry, hold on. Janice, come to me. I have a Janice pillow. I don't think I ever showed this in the podcast.
Yay!
He's my boy. I'm so sorry I offended you, Janice. You can wear whatever you want, buddy. I'm gonna put you over there now. No, now he's just sitting there judging me.
Good.
Upside down, I might add. Anyways, Logan and Janice. I think... What are Logan's thoughts on Janice? Because I don't know.
Well, I think... That's why I say I think it's hard to see it from the lens of the series right now.
Yeah.
Without thinking about it in the lens of logic as a whole. So I guess I'm thinking about it from the lens of Janice's perspective of strategy, thinking about Logan. So Janice knows that people listen to Logan because Logan is logic, and he's very like, listen to Logan. I mean, hold on.
Who really listens to Logan, honestly?
Listen, okay. I'm saying that, like, because Logan is the solid rock and has, like, a lot of facts, people have a tendency to listen to him when it really comes down to it. But, like, so in that vein, Janice sees Logan as a way to be listened to first. But if we're talking about the two interacting with each other and not, like, Janice using Logan for that in that way, I think... logic can weaken his argument because he's more focused on the fallacies and the ways around the truth to try to get you like we're talking emotional abuse, we're talking like gaslighting, we're talking ways to get his point across however he can, you know?
Yeah.
So in that sense, Janice seems to have almost fear or just like a caution around Logan that I don't think he has around anyone else.
Well, I will say, though, that there's also something to be said about the fact that the strongest lies do usually contain some smidgen of logic. So I think there's also, I was going to say a realm of like respect. I don't know how far I'd go with that. But I think there's something to be said about the fact that deceit in, you know, itself, both in some way needs to be far from logic, but also close to logic.
Yes.
And I think in that way, you know, I don't think Janice has too much of a problem with Logan typically, outside of like when he foils his plans. But
that's what I'm saying. Most of the time, Janice is trying to get something done.
Yes, and Logan's usually the one in the way.
Yeah, and there's not really a relationship forming between anyone except really Patton at this point. Because of that, Logan is almost a threat.
Yeah, but I don't think he's, like, annoyed with Logan's presence outside of that fact. If that makes sense. I don't think he has too much of an opinion on Logan in a negative way outside of when he's interrupting his goals. Which is fair enough.
I agree.
Similarly, I don't think Logan has too much a strong hatred or dislike towards Janice. I think he gets frustrated by the fact that Janice is constantly becoming him. I know if someone was constantly impersonating me, I'd get annoyed after a certain point. I'd be like, can you stop? That's my look. It's my tie.
Yeah.
Get out.
It's me.
It's me.
Yeah, stop trying to...
It's my face. Wait a minute, they all have the same face. No, no, but yeah, I don't think he has much of a dislike for Janice. I mean, even to the point where, like, obviously he's not, like, necessarily batting for Janice, but he also, did, you know, he also knows a lot about lying and to some extent, you know, was not refuting lying to the same extent as the others. I don't think in, like, Can Lying Be Good?
Yeah.
Like, he was trying to, you know, help Thomas understand that lying is just sort of a natural thing that happens in general. Like, it's not something that is fully avoided. No one's 100% honest, usually. And
Right.
I think his acceptance of that fact, sort of shows that Logan does not fully push Janice away like some others do.
Yeah.
So there's some iffy vibes there, but I think on the whole, especially if there's no like current goals in mind, I don't think they clash too hard. Not like Logan and Remus for sure.
Oh yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Logan and Janice could clash.
Yeah.
If Janice continues to silence Logan.
That's fair too.
Because I don't know if we've mentioned this yet. I personally think, because I know we were talking about this a little bit and we were kind of at odds. I don't remember if we reached a conclusion. But the fact that Janice put Logan like at the back of the courtroom and brought Logan into the conversation, like the courtroom conversation late in SVS, like Janice was strategically not including Logan in that conversation. I would say.
I mean, this is fair. I mean,
because at first
he tries to be him, and then he benches him, and then, like, I'm thinking of, even in his first appearance, he, like, made Logan's hand go over his mouth to shut him up, and then, at least according to some theories regarding putting others first, even though I don't know where I land on it, the Hook pulls Logan away, and it's just a lot of constant... I mean, Logan already has a thing about being ignored, being silenced. That everyone tends to like lead into, and Janice does do that more than most.
Janice, I think, is the one and only one side who directly does it. Like, I think the other sides have a tendency to kind of like just flow into like talking about other things and just naturally ignoring him. But Janice directly silences Logan.
That's fair. There's a very big difference between ignoring and shutting someone down.
Yeah, like, Logan's in the back of the courtroom in SVS. He's over there raising his hand, trying to get a word in. Mm-hmm. And then Janice is like, we're going to move on because that's weird. And then just keeps talking while Logan's trying, like, even at the end of the episode, Logan said, like, well, I think a society could, what did he say?
I don't see how a society could run without... Could function without some sort of, like, rules? Or what was it? Rules.
Yeah, without rules. And with that direct statement, Logan has weakened Janice's argument. Like, just one statement, bam, instantly Janice's argument is weakened. And that's why Janice is so pushed off by Logan. So it's just interesting to watch that dynamic happen. But yes, if nothing was happening and everything were fine, I think Logan and Janice could get along.
Yeah, I think Logan wouldn't love the sass, but
nope.
I don't think they would clash super hard if they were just, like, again, at the dinner. If they were just forced to a dinner and there wasn't any situation going on that Janice really had to silence him about, I think Logan would harbor some frustration from previous instances, but I don't think Janice has much of an opinion either way. Because Janice sees it as an ends to a means. Means to an end, sorry.
Means to...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think they would, similarly to how you said Logan and Virgil would vibe about, like, Death Note or other things like that, I think Logan and Janice would probably vibe with, like, mystery novels and, like, different things. Like, I think they'd really get into their geek...
Yeah. They could find some common ground.
Yeah, I think they could really be friends.
I mean, they honestly, I think in some ways they're closest to, like, intellectual equals. Because they're both very smart and know a lot about their respective, like, fields. And I mean, honestly,
Right.
Janice has portrayed Logan very well because he knows a lot of things. So I mean, honestly, if anyone is intellectual equals amongst the sides, I think it would be Logan and Janice. So I think they could bond off of that, and I don't think it'd be too, hazardous of a dinner.
No. I'd be intrigued to see a conversation, just a studious conversation between Logan and Janice. I think that'd be so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Just imagine how cool and interesting that conversation would be.
I'd pay money to see all of these, 1 hour long dinners between these pairs.
Listen, I would love to listen to Logan and Janice go off. I'd be like, all right, I'm here. Let's do it.
Oh my goodness.
Heck
Right. Yeah. Well, next up, boop. Who do we got next? Oh, Amy's about to be real happy. It's your favorite.
We love these two.
We got Virgil and Janice.
Yay!
Oh my god. Here we go.
Guys, I love Janice. I love them. Did I mention I love them together? Oh, I love them together. Anyway.
This is going to be like before, how you can't say anything because you're too busy talking about how they're the best. Well, I'll start off by saying they don't get along.
What?
I know, shocking.
My mind.
I know, they've always been quite friendly to each other.
My friend.
The raccoon and the dishwashing gloves. That's their first interaction, right? Yeah.
Nice gloves. Did you just washing some dishes?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I love Janice.
I have done one stream with Virgil and Janice, acting, and I was Janice, and I had the time of my life. Jessie was my Virgil, and we had the time of our lives. We have to do that again.
That's amazing.
Oh my god. Anyway,
they don't get along. Mostly, I'd say, because of Virgil. Not because of Virgil, but Virgil has the most anger towards Janice comparatively to the other way around. I don't think Janice has too much of an issue with Virgil that I recall.
It really does if you watch the conversations, because again, we don't know their past.
Yeah, not yet.
There's tension in history there that we don't know yet. Mm-hmm. But it's very, if you watch their conversations that have happened thus far, Janice stokes Virgil.
Yes.
And Virgil just fucking hates it. That's all it is. Yeah. If Virgil comes back at Janice, he's like, oh.
Yeah, he doesn't give a crap what's said to him, but he will dish a little bit. Why? Who knows? I don't know. There could be a lot of reasons, but that's definitely one of those where I'm like, okay, Janice, maybe calm down a little bit.
I love it.
Well, of course you love it. You love angst.
I don't know what it is, but I freaking love it.
I'm just sitting here like, Janice, down, stop a little bit. You're being rude.
You yourself said that you're not a beacon of truth. Yeah, because I'm wrong a lot. Anyway, I'm so sorry.
Oh, see, there we go. You helped justify it for me, because now, that was during the court case most of that happened. So now I can be like, okay, that wasn't Janice being rude for rude's sake. That was because he was getting to a point. Yes. Justification. I can feel secure in my thing again. Hi, Janice Pillow, I love you.
Wait,
hi, Janice Poster, I love you. Sorry, what?
What are we talking about? What happened?
Oh, I just felt bad because I was thinking about Janice being rude to Virgil with little reason that we know of so far. And I started to get sad because I was like, my boy, I defend you so hard. Why are you doing this? And then I remembered that a lot of that rudeness was during the court case.
But it's everywhere.
It is everywhere, but a lot of it that I was thinking of was during the court case.
Oh yeah, but there's the end of embarrassing phases. Yeah. There's just literally the whole Inside Out 2 moment where that I've been I've loved a lot these past few days. Mm-hmm. It's just the moment where Janice is like, what? Is that not how he always looked? That's what I'm looking at. As he's in these orange and the ponytail and everything. Isn't that how he always looked?
Did he have his hair up or something? Did I miss that?
Yeah, Virgil had a little ponytail like I do.
I forgot. I don't remember realizing that. I just remember the outfit.
Thomas's hair is so short that it's hard to see, but he has a little ponytail.
Interesting.
Yep.
I'll have to watch that back. But, oh no, I have to watch that again. It's so good.
Oh gosh.
Oh no. I have to watch Sanderside's Yucky.
Oh man.
I never want to do that. I'm Janice.
We probably can't go too far into Virgil and Janice, but I think
there really is only so much to say.
Do what?
I said there's just really only so much to say about them as of right now.
There's only so much, we just don't know canonically what's happening, but it's just very telling that Janice is coming after Virgil more than Virgil comes after Janice. Virgil's stoked by Janice and then gets really mad and starts fighting back, and that's where things happen. Mm-hmm. But like Janice kind of stokes Virgil more than the other way around.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd like to hope that there's a reason for that. I hope there's something that justifies that in history to some extent.
I think I will say that after Janice, we've seen so much good intention from Janice, and a lot of like, though his methods are funky, he's still very like, has good motives. Yeah. I think there is probably a good reason to that.
Yeah, I don't think he's not the type so far that has done that unprompted.
No.
So, not very. He usually has a goal in mind.
We were just talking about what do you mean? Is that not how he always looks? There was no reason for that.
That's just teasing. That's not him being terribly rude.
But also, is teasing with the full intention that person isn't going to take it as a joke teasing, or is that just being annoying?
Well, it also depends on what started this. Did Janice start acting this way because Virgil started being rude to him first? I think that would make a difference, because if he started being rude to him with little reason, and then that's just how he treated him forever, then at a certain point Janice is going to be like, fine, if you're going to be like that, then I'll be like that too. I could be like that easy, and you can't get under my skin the way I can get under yours, so...
I kind of doubt that Janice just didn't... I mean, I think that's Janice's natural tendency with everyone, in some capacity. He teases everyone. Way.
Oh no, he teases everyone. So like, I'm sure there's some of it that is just teasing, but I'm just saying that in terms of like overall, like how he treats Virgil.
Yeah.
But yeah, but our point is just that it seems like he's not had many instances where he's terribly rude, unprompted by anything. He usually has some reason behind his madness. There is a rhyme or reason to what he does.
Yeah. So I have a request. Can we never stop talking about Virgil and Janice?
Oh, well, we still have to talk about how they do it at dinner.
Oh, yay!
Before we continue. So how would they do it at dinner?
God.
I think Virgil would break the table in half just so he could move further away.
I think they wouldn't make it past the appetizer. I don't think they would.
I think Virgil would get up and sit at a table across the room, and then Janice, just to be a dick, would be like, "Could you pass the salt?"
It's a little bland, Virgil.
Virgil, I didn't make it. I just wanted you to know. Could you pass the salt?
I know that I'm not enjoying this dinner, Virgil.
Virgil throws the salt at him from across the room, and he's like, "That's too much salt."
Jeez, what a terrible party host. And Virgil's just, "What?
I hate it when you mumble. Speak clearly."
I love them.
I'm starting to love them too. Here's the thing. The issue is the side of that I love is Janice. I'm biased for Janice.
I love them both. I'll be honest. I love them both a lot. Janice is coming up. I think Janice might be my second very soon.
Oh my
second, because of how much I love his energy and everything. Oh my god.
I'm gonna be thinking of that all day. Just them separated in a restaurant far away.
And we're just like, I didn't make it.
Just looks at Virgil. "Do you want a breadstick?" And Virgil's like, "I have my own." And he's like, "But do you want one?" He's just being rude.
Why don't you shove it up your ass, bitch?
And he just looks and he's like, "I don't think that would make it any better." You demonstrate, and then I'll think about it.
And then Virgil just goes, I'll shove it up your ass, you watch.
He's like, no, I don't need the help. I'm just questioning if I want to. I think this is like the new front runner of who I want to see dining at a restaurant.
I love them.
I keep choosing a favorite upon who I want to see in this scenario, and the top runner right now is Virgil and Janice. And I'm fully on the side of Janice just for rude.
Oh my god, it's so fun. It's so fun.
Oh my goodness.
It's so fun. I love it.
Alright.
Look.
I think we're on our final wheel spin for this episode. Until next week, where we'll go through the rest of the remaining wheel candidates. That's all, folks. Anyways, boop. Who's our last one? Aw, that's a good vibe to end on. Logan and Patton. That's a pretty alright vibe there, and you're shaking your head, and now I don't know what my opinion is, because I run my opinion by the opinion of others.
Let me just say it this way. I think the only pairing that I think is just solid right now is Patton and Janice.
Fair enough.
I think everyone else is just not okay.
It's funny, because we really have gone through, like, this is now going to be our 7th pairing, and Patton and Janice is really, well, other than Patton and Janice and Logan and Virgil, those 2 pairings are fairly solid, but even Logan and Virgil have issues. But, like, Patton and Janice really, of anyone, is the least problematic right now, because they're the only ones who are, to some extent, fully seeing eye to eye. And fully pretty receptive to the other right now. Whereas everyone else, even when civil, are kind of at odds, or worse.
Yeah. I would agree.
But I think Logan and Patton is a pretty alright one as well. I think it's up there in the calm thing. I think it's... I don't know. I think it's less confrontational, like, less potential for confrontation than, like, Logan and Virgil. Or maybe just as equally so. Because Logan and Patton do get along-ish. I mean, he's just Watson.
Yes, but I think the problem between Logan and Patton is they cannot understand each other no matter how hard they try.
That's true. They both have very differing ideologies.
They can't. I have written down they don't understand each other, but they can reach agreements faster than Roman and Logan.
Yeah, no, but mainly because there's just better listening there, I think. I mean, Patton is obviously always receptive to hearing what other people have to say for the most part. And Logan is stubborn, and especially with Patton, I think he's quite stubborn because he underestimates Pattern?
Mm-hmm.
Patton? Patton's a pattern. Well, a cookie pattern. That wasn't even a joke. Why did I say it out loud? Anyway. Have you ever seen anxiety just in a sentence? That was it. That wasn't even a joke. Why did I say it out loud?
I was gonna say the line, why did I even say it out loud? Got me really bad.
No.
The way you said it. Ooh,
God. I'm getting nervous. I think you need to continue.
Sorry, some things really make me laugh, and that was one of them. The way people say things, like, why did I even say it out loud?
We love a good delivery around here.
We're gonna pick.
Oh my god. That was delivery. That was not, in fact, DiGiorno.
Your one-liners are my favorite.
I try very hard. Except for the times where I don't, and then I regret saying things out loud.
Anyway.
Yes, please continue, so I don't have to talk for a minute.
No, you're so fine. I think it's very telling. Yeah. I think it's a very important thing in the relationships between Patton and Logan that Patton admires Logan.
Oh.
I think Patton admires everybody, but because everybody looks to Patton for that goodness, I don't think... I think the only side that doesn't is Logan. I don't think Logan's looking to Patton for the good in Thomas.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
I think Virgil and Roman are, which puts a lot of pressure on Patton. So I think that's why he likes Logan so much, is because Logan treats him like not as this father figure or as this like... He feels like he can be himself around Logan to an extent.
He doesn't really need to work up to any expectations or walk on any eggshells as much. He can just sort of be himself. And sometimes a little less so, because Logan, I think, has very, questionable, inconsistent patience for Patton. I think it really depends on the day of how much he can tolerate, because Patton's a lot sometimes. But I think that, he is willing to deal with Patton's presence a lot of the time.
Yes.
So I mean, they're pretty decent as a pairing. They can be around each other. I think Logan can get... I think Logan will reach a limit at some point. Like, he's he's willing to hang out with Patton, but there is a time limit to where he notices that he's going to get a little burnt out by Patton.
Yes.
So he has to limit his interactions in that way, but he's still willing to have them, I'd say. So dinner.
I think Patton's looking to Logan for guidance, and Logan sees himself as the guidance.
That's fair. Patton would be the one that, like, of anybody, like, more than anybody, looks to Logan for guidance and, listens to him more or less. I say that except for the one time he really didn't.
Well, here's the deal. I will say, because, there's that moment moving... assuming you're talking about moving forward. Okay. Where... for transparency, the moment where Patton's like, Logan, can you stop? Can you not push me into my emotions right now? I'm thinking it's interesting. I just connected this. If Patton looks to Logan, Patton has always looked to Logan for guidance, but I think moving forward might have stunted that a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
A little bit. And with Janice being a guiding light, I think Patton is looking to Janice more than he looks to Logan now, which might be making Logan a bit more stickler towards Patton. Because, like, Patton also knows, I mean, if we're going with what I think happened, because I know we don't fully agree on this, but if we're going with the idea that, like, in putting others first, Patton skipped Logan and skipped Logan's discussion.
He did.
Intentionally to the side on that way. He's listening to Janice more, which is harder for Logan to take. So I think their relationship is more stunted now than it seems.
That's fair.
Because Patton is starting to choose Janice over Logan, and Logan's used to doing the whole, like, no, see, you were looking at me before, remember? I'm the smart one. I'm the one that you want. Pay attention to me. Whereas now Patton's looking at Janice.
That's fair.
And Logan...
So he's having sort of I guess a similar arc there to, like, Roman with Patton. In the sense that, like, there is that factor of, like, you were with me and now you're with him. But I think Logan to a lesser extent. I don't think Logan cares as much in that way. Or at least that we have seen yet. I think he cares whether or not he's being listened to. But I don't think he's as annoyed by who Patton's listening to as much as he is slightly annoyed about not being listened to. So, which is still happening there, but I don't think he's as worked up about it, obviously, as Roman.
Yes.
I think he can sort of take or leave it, as long as, like, the effect is still positive on the whole.
I think it's making him doubt. I think it's without him really realizing it. I think this is subconscious. Subconscious at the sides.
Whoa,
but
subconscious is the subconscious.
Whoa. But Logan is feeling a bit... Wait, okay, hold on. I just realized that I'm connecting this to my love of robots. Hold on.
Yeah.
Because part of the reason I love Logan is because Logan is it can be very stoic and robotic thinking. sometimes, with how like grid-like his brain works, right? So in that sense, Logan might be starting to feel useless. And in feeling useless, that can trigger emotion and rage and things like that. Because I know that's...
He's Wally.
That's what I think. Aww.
He's Wally. He has no directive, and he's just sitting in the corner stacking Crofters jars.
Oh, literally, like with Steve, one of the or my original character, Steve. I know a lot of you here probably know who that is, but I'm going to explain anyway. That's my original character, who's an artificial intelligence. I always have the thought of like, I am useful. Like I really try to make sure that he knows he's useful, and if he doesn't feel like he's useful, he finds a way to be useful. Yeah. Like that's his entire directive. So like Logan's not the same in that way, but that might be part of it because it's the tides are turning in that way. If Patton, the good that everyone is looking to, doesn't see Logan as useful anymore and doesn't see his perspective as valid in that way, and he's looking to Jen instead, that might just make him jealous and ragey and make things hard.
And there is also the fact that... Hold on, so I was going to say there is also the fact that in working through intrusive thoughts, Logan wanted Thomas to do the important stuff, and Patton is the one who's sort of saying, like, Thomas needs this, like, let him do that. So that is actively working against Logan in that way, too. Yeah, I guess they are a little bit more fractured right now than I thought. I still think they're pretty civil. I still think they get along when things aren't, like, there. I don't think there's too much of a thing there, but I think there's some hidden feelings in the background that I don't think Logan would bring up.
I think his shell is cracking.
I mean, well, in general it is, you know.
I mean, literally, as we saw with the Orange Eyes, but also, like, in the sense of the end of working through intrusive thoughts, he was very quiet. And I know that was because they weren't getting done what he wanted to get done, but I think it was much more than that. You know? So I think part of it was the fact that, you know, he's not being acknowledged at all. His perspectives and his opinions are being acknowledged lesser than they've ever been, is what I'm trying to say. So I would say this one might be more fractured than we thought.
Maybe so. I mean, I didn't think about that too much, but yeah, you're right.
I think a table conversation with them right now, like them trying to have dinner together, would not go well.
I think Logan would sort of be like, how's Janice?
Well...
like, how's that going?
Yes, because there's that, and I think Patton, in the opposite sense, Patton feels very guilty. And I say that because you can tell when Logan comes back, and Logan starts from putting others first. When he comes back after Janice is there, he starts to say, I am unharmed and I don't want to think about it or whatever. You know, he says that part, and then Patton immediately goes, well, Logan, and then Logan just interrupts the fuck out of him and goes, Peter Singer, and goes right off what he was going to say. And Patton goes, you can see him deflate. Yeah. You can see him really embarrassed and really sad about what happened and why the fact that he skipped Logan. Yeah. Like, he's not happy with how Logan is treating him. In a way,
that was almost Logan skipping Patton.
And he feels like it's his fault.
Yeah.
Wow.
That would, so a dinner would not go great. I don't think it would go terribly. It wouldn't go like Virgil Janice bad.
I think it would go bad in the sense of Patton's trying to make things right, and Logan isn't taking it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Like, I really don't think... I think they'd stop talking. Yeah. I think this one would hurt. This would hurt right now. Oh. I think this one would hurt more than any of the others right now.
Always.
I love how Janice and Virgil... You would think Janice and Virgil is the one that would hurt the most, but those two are just going to fire shots at each other.
That's just them, like, bickering and arguing. But this one is, like, cold, silent, like, not wanting to go forward.
I even think this might be a little more heated just tense than Roman and Patton.
I think so
Roman
too,
and
because we discussed that Roman would also hide it, a lot of it with comedy. He'd cope with that. So, but Logan doesn't have that same thing, and I think especially his faculties are breaking down a bit. He's being a bit more blunt.
He wouldn't want to say anything about it, so it would just be really cold and really hard now.
He'd be pent up for a few minutes, and he'd throw a salt shaker at Patton's eye. It's all about the salt shakers here. I just like to think of just Logan throwing things at people's eyes.
I love how I'm getting anxious on their behalf.
Yeah.
Like, I am uncomfortable thinking about Logan and Patton talking right now.
I feel really bad for Patton in that. Because that's just a gross position to be in.
I think it's a very glossed over moment in Sandersides where Logan just interrupts the fuck out of Patton. I've never seen Logan be that loud and annoying towards you. Or loud
You've
and
seen him be
abrasive.
loud, but not in like a way to not used to be rude. Or not used to be like used to his advantage in that way. He's usually loud for like more sporadic random reasons.
Seriously, like for those listening, go back and watch Patton's face when that happens. It's guilt. It's just guilt. It's like, oh, I know what's happening right now and I'm the bad guy. Oh, that would hurt like oof.
Dang. Well, on that happy
Virgil?
note, what? No, we can't talk about Janice and Virgil again. I'd love to, but we do need to end the episode here.
Yeah, I'm just recognizing how painful Logan and Patton would be right now, and I'm just like, Janice and Virgil's fun.
Pass the salt.
Pass the salt.
That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah,
anyway,
that does feel like you.
What a note to end on.
I know, and I thought it was going to be a nicer note, but it's okay.
You said that, and I went.
We're talking about Sanderside's connections. There's going to be some angst here, no matter what. Whew. Yeah. All right. Well, we will get to the rest of these connections, the rest of the wheel, during next week's episode, and rounding out round like a wheel. Did you see me deflate? Because I heard it in my soul. I literally was like, "This is hilarious." It's the worst you've ever said.
No, I felt you accept the pain. I felt you accepted it in the moment.
Oh.
I felt you just.
This is my moment to remind everyone that I am always and forever will be the layman in this series. That is my position in life, really.
Listen, I think you've got a lot of interesting points, and I hope you all have been interested in these conversations that we're having. Mm-hmm. I appreciate you here.
Yes, we love y'all guys. Yeah, and we will see you next week.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Next week.
Wow. Goodbye.
Bye.